Buyer's remorse.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
And today Justin is going to be playing a game, or has played a game for 60 minutes that, had been sitting all alone and unloved in his library. And that game was...
Spacebase DF-9.
I'm interested.
I knew you would be. Do you not own this game?
I own this game.
I suspected.
We got it in a bundle. We got it from Humble Bundle. They did a double fine bundle.
I suspected it was something like that. Because in Steam even it said that I bought it with Hack and Slash for about $1.50. Right. Which makes sense. The developer and publisher, Double Fine Productions, which we've talked about a lot on Filling in the Gaps.
Yep.
Kind of surprised we would ever talk about one of their games here until I played this one.
Well, that's the thing. This was the big experiment because we love Double Fine games to the point of almost fanboyism. And this game has not been received well. And I've not tried it myself, so that's why I wanted to put you through it.
Overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah, surprising.
With over 3,000 reviews. This comes from October of 2014. At base is $10. I don't think anybody is paying that for it. As I said, if it's not from the bundle, then it is from the bundle of Hack and Slash, which I got 2 games for $1.50.
Fair enough.
This game is a management game.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the type of game where you are building something and you have different people and you're trying to, in this case, you're trying to build a space base that is functioning and can grow and do all of the things you want it to do. Keep in mind that I played this for the podcast at a time where I've just been playing 2 Point Hospital, a very positively reviewed game, for the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is better than the other. As you start out with the game, you're going to see an image of a galaxy, and there's a highlighted tutorial of Outpost Easy 101. Obviously, this is where you want to start, or at least where I wanted to start. There's some text on the screen that says a seed is being sent to, I think it said Green Nebula 1334. This doesn't really matter because it changes, I think, each time. I think that those numbers are generated randomly.
Okay.
It will also count down how many years it takes to get there, which is a ridiculous number of tens of thousands of years. Yeah. But yeah, this is a space-based management game. The instructions are confusing right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You're given a small base, which is incomplete, and it tells you to click on things. One of the things it tells you to click on is the oxygen meter, so you can tell which rooms have enough oxygen, if people are going to die, things like that. But I didn't know how to not click. I guess I was supposed to click on it again to make it go away. But the thing is, it gives the whole area where oxygen is good, it's green. And so this whole green grid goes up over most of it. So when the next instructions say to build something in the blue room, I was really confused because I couldn't see a blue room anymore. I could only see green and red, the one that's not finished and not working. The game, even in the tutorial, I think, here's the mistake they made. Right. The biggest mistake. 2 mistakes that they made. 1, the tutorial in and of itself is not very clear. 2, they've given you pretty much everything right away at the start. Most management games scaffold you up. So they will start with, do something very, very basic. Do just this one little thing first.
Yeah, build a room, install a television.
And they're doing that in this tutorial. But the first time I tried it, it made no sense to me. I was really having trouble understanding what they wanted. There's just something about the instructions that don't work. And the way they've given you access to everything, that also doesn't work. What most of these types of games will do to guide you through is will actually show you where it is in the menu. You need to construct a room. You need to go to construct room. And a big arrow will point you in the direction. Or the AI will show you where in the menu it is. In this one, you're just meant to go and find it. So that's already a little bit frustrating. The characters that you're looking at yes, they look weird. They'll have alien heads and chicken heads and purple heads, but they're really tiny. They don't really seem to be doing much.
Are they like classic kind of Double Fine animation though? Are they that Knights and Bikes, Costume Quest,
No,
stacking?
I don't think so at all.
No.
It doesn't feel like that. And that's something that's really missing. But I couldn't really figure it out. I really, through this first time, something about it just stopped me from understanding what the heck I was supposed to be doing. Couldn't figure it out. So I think what I did is I went back to the menu and I thought, okay, I missed a step somewhere. Something's gone wrong. Let me start it over. But when I started it over, I must have chosen a different option because suddenly now I'm in a level that has nothing. So the first one started me off with a bit of a base. Mm-hmm. But now I'm starting off with what I think is a normal level, the easiest level, or what's supposed to be the easiest level. You're supposed to build a large well, it says build a rectangle. I built a large rectangle because in most of these games, that's the smart move. Mm-hmm. Build a big space to use in the beginning. But in this game, that's a disastrous move to do.
Of course it is.
You have a limited amount of matter, and you need to go mining for more, but you can't, as I found out, actually use the stuff you mine unless you build a refinery room, which I didn't have. So you could very easily run out of matter and not be able to build anything. But on top of that, your characters all have 8 minutes of oxygen when you begin.
Okay.
So as they're building it, not in a logical order, but flying up and down and back and to the left and to the right, not just building it all from the top down, they're wasting animation time going all around to the different place. And so, yeah, I eventually lost all three of my original people. One guy with mining when he just had nothing to do with this rock that he had mined. And the others didn't finish their building in time.
Oh, wow.
You get these other characters. Did you play Fallout Shelter?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how sometimes you would get characters who would want to come into the shelter and become part of the group? Mm-hmm. Well, this happens about every minute, at least in this level. You're getting messages saying, hey, your base looks good, I want to join. I'm like, you really want to join with the 3 dead bodies that I've got? All right, fine. So I kept this going for a while. I don't know how long, probably 30 minutes of just letting people join in until that original room was built. But then nobody could get in. The whole place couldn't be taken care of because I couldn't figure out how to build an airlock. And it seemed like it should be easy, but I just couldn't seem to make it work. They would say instructions like, you have to have one door facing in and one door facing out. Well, that's not really how an airlock works. There needs to be a tube, right? There needs to be a room.
Yeah.
Which there does. Mm-hmm. But the way the instructions were, again, not very clear.
Right.
So I was trying to figure out how to turn the door around, thinking you had to have like an indoor and an outdoor.
That's what I was just thinking, yeah.
But I couldn't. You could turn it around, but there was no indication of this way is facing in, this way is... There's no arrow. So I was, again, confused. You're also supposed to have spacesuits in the airlock, but how could you do that if it's just a doorway? So I was very confused on this part. And I just kept it going. If you scroll back, you can see a huge area with all sorts of other asteroids that you'll be able to mine. Okay. If you can get things going. I just kept letting characters die as they finally built the one rectangle and the one little small one that I added because that was going to be my refinery. Yeah, the whole room just never got built. And I was just so tired of watching characters die that I went back out. I was like, okay, I'm going to start over. I'll make a smaller rectangle this time. But then whatever I chose on this one took me back to the first tutorial, the one with the partially done station. Now, this time I had a better concept of what I was doing with it. I realized I could turn the oxygen screen off, and so I could see which one's the blue room. And now this time, finally, but about 45 minutes in, I figured out how I'm supposed to be doing this stuff, and I could slowly start to do it. There is a room in this tutorial room that is designed to be your airlock. You need to put one door at the inside part of the room, one door on the outside towards space, and a locker with a spacesuit in it. I figured it out. I even got to the point where, let me see, I had a few things that I did. So I fixed up a half-finished room so that I could turn it into a sleeping area. I had started mining. There is already a refinery on there, so you just need to assign someone to be a technician. So that's a big thing with this game, is assigning people to their jobs. But there's a very confusing system of stars, which I would assume 3 stars means they're very good at it. But then there's also an emoticon to say whether they like the job or not.
Okay.
So I was in a weird situation where one of my people had a job that they were very good at, but that they hated because it had a red sad face or angry face. I was like, well, but you're good at that job and you're the only one. Everybody else has 1 star and you've got 3. You're going mining. So I'm sending him out. If you don't do anything, the people just start exercising. They start doing jumping jacks and push-ups. I don't know what's going on. There's a command that keeps saying, your people will be happier if they have shelves. But I couldn't find shelves anywhere in the menu. I don't know where they are. What else did I finish? A food replicator. I fixed a machine. I fixed the half-finished room. Just beyond this time, I think it told me there's a derelict ship or station nearby, so I could send security there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, again, like Fallout Shelter, where you could send them out on missions. But you're actually right there on the screen. It's not a whole different part of the game.
You don't have to wait a day for them to return.
No.
Or pay money to have them return really early.
And just as the hour was up, I think I finished most of the things that it was going to tell me, because it says, oh, beyond this, you could try things like building a garden or building a health center to have a doctor to heal your people up. Well, don't just tell me those things. Like, those should be the type of things that, again, are in the tutorial.
Yeah, exactly.
Or leveling up in the 2nd or 3rd station that I'm building, something along those lines. It's just weird. It just doesn't explain things well. It doesn't scaffold well. A lot of the things, even when it tries to explain, it's just hard to understand. And the characters are not interesting, so I don't really want to watch them. These are not like our traditional Double Fine characters. I mean, normally I feel very attached to them in some way. In this one, yeah, let them die. Let them die. Let them die. Overall, yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it, and I didn't see a story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Double Fine really excels.
Right.
They can have some lesser games, but usually there's an interesting story in there. This one just doesn't seem to have it. It feels like a project that they tried just to see if they could do it,
mm-hmm.
and then stopped.
I think that's why the negative reviews are. A lot of the reviews say that it was abandoned.
A lot of people were saying, too, that it was in early release, but they've taken it out of early release, and it really should still be an early release, even though it's been abandoned because it's not finished. Apparently, later on, there are bugs and things as well. I didn't get to those. Just the AI, apparently, is really stupid, and will just do stuff that it shouldn't do. And in this kind of game, that's key. You don't want to have to be watching over every single character.
Right. It sounds like one of my personal hells, man. I don't think I'd like to play this.
You're not big on management games anyway.
No, I hate them.
I wouldn't have you play this one. Honestly, wouldn't have even people like management games. I think that they would find this game very frustrating. I think some people enjoyed it. It is overwhelmingly negative, but there are still positive reviews in there. Some people did enjoy it. It just wasn't me.
So I don't think you're going to go back for another hour there, especially if there's bugs in the future that are unfixed.
Yeah, and not when I have other management games sitting in my library, or, 2 Point, which I haven't finished yet. So, no, this one would go way, way, way down on the list of management games I want to spend time on.
Right. So what tags would you give it then? Obviously, yeah, management, I guess. Would that be one of them?
Management, space, and confusing.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say disappointing, because, yeah.
Well, that too. Very unexpectedly disappointing. I think when I saw this, even with those negative reviews, I would have said, nah, it's Double Fine. It's got to be something. But it's not the something I wanted.
Proof that even your favourite companies can still turn something into absolute crap. Yeah. So Buyer's Remorse or Confirmation then? $1.50 in a bundle with another game.
But I had to play it for an hour.
And time is money.
In that case, it's a remorse.
Remorse.
Today, we are discussing what game?
Head Snatchers. I think this game's meant to be played with a controller, but I took one. I took one for the Team PC Master Race, and I proved that anything is possible with a keyboard and mouse. Roulette was some kind of online TV show. It didn't work for me. I think it's multiplayer.
Okay, so now that you say that, now I remember this is what we played. And we played, I think, when I was visiting. So I think we were playing in person.
Basically, you're trying to rescue your girl who looks a bit like Skeletor, and she's been captured by this flying eyeball kind of thing, taken into the zombie castle. Yeah, I lost my head, so I wasn't happy about that.
All this and more in the next episode of Buyer's Remorse.